Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We are doing the predictions for the IPL auctions. In this episode, we'll be looking at Lucknow Super Giants, and I have with me my co-host Abrar Aziz. Lucknow have retained three players. One is KL Rahul, the other is Ravi Bishnoi, and the third is Marcus.
Stoinis.
Very interesting retention. Don, your first thoughts on this?
Actually, I think that they probably could have done slightly better with due respect to the likes of Stoinis and I think Bishnoi is a good pick. I think KL, of course, is of course a very very good pick. Maybe someone a tad bit better than someone like I have no disrespect to Stoinis. I think he's excellent player. But I
Great
think
big
they
match.
could, yeah, and I think he had a great big bash. I think there were a few other options that they could have tried. I'm sure they did, and they didn't succeed, and that's why they have someone like a Stoinis maybe coming in. But I just felt like maybe someone. There are a few options, honestly, to be there. The Indian options were a little bit better off. You could have tried a few players, maybe like a Krunal Pandya, maybe like a Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur. There were a few options there. Maybe they would have tried a few of those. Of course, it was difficult with the money, but I think that they would have done a little bit better off even spending. They spent about 9 crores on Stoinis, and I don't think he's worth that much with due respect to him. I think even if they would have put in 2-3 more crores and gone up to 12 to try to snap up a Deepak Chahar or a Shardul Thakur or someone like that, I think that would have really made their case a little bit stronger. With that being said, it is what it is at this point, and I think that they have like I said, they have a good opening batsman. They have a they have a very decent. God bless you. They have a very decent finisher and a very good bowler. So I think that they've done a decent job, and they have a decent coaching staff as well. Like Andy Flower is experienced. He's done it. Done it in the past. He's also taken a break from from Multan to come in to help out with the EPS. So I feel like they're a little bit more ready and prepared versus the Ahmedabad, or maybe Ahmedabad is just doing everything behind scenes and we just don't know about it. But Lucknow is showing us everything that they are doing. They made their team. They've created their anthem, their logo, and everything. So they're showing a little bit more interaction with the audience as well. So that's why I feel like they're a little bit more prepared, and I think their picks also are smart. Except for Stoinis maybe, because I think Pandya, Gill, and Rash is in my opinion a little bit better than KL, Bishnoi, and Stoinis. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, honestly, when we first heard the news, it looked like Rahul and Rashid would go together. So that was a very very strong retention. If
Yeah,
that would have
yeah.
happened, I think Lucknow would have been the teams to watch out for. Then they went with Stoinis and Bishnoi. I think Stoinis is actually a really good pick because he's played really well in all conditions. They've won the T20 World Cup, so he'll have confidence. But again, with the other options out there, you had a Warner, you had an Ayer. Maybe these guys didn't want to go. They wanted to go into the auction list. They didn't want to get retained, so maybe that's why. And they have to give Rahul the big bucks, so they couldn't afford that for the other players. So I think that's the reason they probably went with him. Please post the probable teams mentioned by Don so we can compare them. Thanks. Yeah, I think we can do
Of
that.
course, of course.
Yeah. Don, where did you go, man?
Sorry, I lost you there. Sorry.
No, you don't. But listen, if I was you, I wouldn't do it. But then because can
Can't
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
1 second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Huh. I'll,
I think
I'll
you can go out and come back
I'll
in.
join back. Yeah, one
Yeah.
second. Sorry.
So yeah, Don, I think was surprised with that question. I'm just joking, but yeah, I think we're looking at the Lucknow team. Like I was saying, they invested probably a lot of money in KL Rahul, and that's why they probably couldn't retain the likes of a Warner, a Shreyas Iyer, Ishan Kishan, and that's probably the reason they went with the Ravi Pushna. I think he's a good pick. Ravi Pushna is a great spin bowler. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I think Ravi Krishna is a really good pick. He was underused by Punjab. He
Punjab.
didn't play quite a few games, but I think he's a leg spinner who will cause problems in whatever conditions they play in. And Stoinis, again, you're covering that all round spot. So, like, of course, you could have gone with someone else, but at least you have that basis covered. Oops, I lost you again. Don's gone again, but yeah. Let's see what team that he posts. What would you say about KL Rahul's captaincy? I think certain instances I was very impressed. I think there's one game against Sunrisers, a few other games I was very impressed with this captaincy, where they were defending a low score. Don, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
was
I'm
just
having some connection issues.
no worries, no worries. You can hop in, hop out whenever. So I was just saying, Rahul's captaincy. There's certain instances I was very impressed with, but then you had other instances. I wouldn't say his captaincy was the problem. It was also the batting that let him down. There's some stupid things happening. What was that game against Rajasthan like last year? They needed what 3 runs of like 1 over or
Yeah,
something.
and they
And
ended up
yeah,
losing
what are
that
you
game.
gonna do with captaincy there? Like, I think you can't do much. It's your batting that needs to think. So I honestly don't have a problem. I think he's someone who's matured now. He's what 29, closing to 30. He's probably a prime of his career in terms of batting as well. He can keep maybe get like another vice captain to help him out maybe, but he'll definitely learn. It's a learning curve. He's only been captaining for a few years now. Yes, his India debut also didn't go well in terms of captaincy, but I'm sure he'll learn from that.
Absolutely, definitely he will learn. He will grow into being a better thing. I think once the noise about the owners and stuff kind of moves away, and I think he could really grow into that. I think 1 or 2 good seasons will help his Indian captaincy as well. I think it's about the experience. It's about learning how to deal with those pressure situations, and I think he will definitely come out. A pretty decent captain at the end of his career versus where he's at right at this point in time now.
Yeah, and look, it's also the brand, right? Or how would you rate? Like, I'll ask Punter the same question. How would you rate Virat Kohli's captaincy in the IPL? Like, he might not have been the greatest captain in the IPL. He's never won an IPL trophy, but he brings that brand image. And KL
Yeah.
Rahul right now is probably the most informed Indian player. He's the prime of his life. He has another 2, 3 years, 4 years in prime for sure.
Yeah.
And after that, he'd still be experienced. So you're investing in a brand, which is KL Rahul. You're not just investing in a captain or a wicket keeper. You're investing in so many things.
Absolutely.
So
And that's
I
why they
think
went for that extra crore. He's at this point in time, the 17 crores is the biggest player at this point in time in terms of
if
the
he was
money
in
which
the
they're getting.
auction, he was one player I felt that he can hit that 20 crore mark
Yeah,
if he went,
yeah,
because he's just smashing it in every single format, right? He's in excellent form. And the IPL itself, just look at the last 2 seasons. Yes, his team hasn't been successful, but he's been getting the orange cap, day in, day out, and he's scoring runs. And he looks very comfortable at the crease.
absolutely. I think he's also the fact that he's left someone like Jaddu, what's his name, Punt, Rohit Sharma himself, up in the background by being the most expensive player shows a lot about the player that he is and the player that people are seeing him to be.
Yeah, 100%. So let's hear your 11.
I had Jason Roy before today's heroics in my team already because
And
I
then
felt like he was going to be
oh, you
a good.
already had him. Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I had him beforehand. So I'm going with Akil Rahul, Jason Roy, Manish Pandey, Shivam Dubey, Ambati Raidu. Then I have Stoinis at 6, Shakib at 7, and Shakib could play a little bit up front as well, and they could probably, he could be that floater player. I have Rishi Dhawan as the other all rounder. Then I finish off with Bishnoi, Rabada, and Unadkat. So Rabada, I think Jason Roy, Rabada, Shakib, and Rishi Dhawan will be their big players. And then they'll have to fill the bucket with someone like a Pandey and a Shivam Dubey. I think Manish Pandey might go for a little bit as well. And I think Ambati Raidu, because as
On
he
what basis?
smartly picked himself, sorry,
On what basis?
on what basis is a good question. I think his IPL career with the Sunrisers has been poor, but I think he's still an Indian option to have at number 3. I think with someone like a Rahul and Roy going up straight up, I think Manish Pandey could really fit in that role as a more of a kind of constructing the innings and everyone around him can play, and then that's why I think like someone like a Rahul, Roy, Dubey, Raidu, Stoinis, Shakib, these guys can really go all guns blazing. I still think that this middle order is also a little weak, but the fact that I needed to give them 2 3 big impacts was the problem. So I've gone with like I think Rabada is going to be
You
the
just
most
wanted to get rid of Manish Pandey from Sunrise. That's what you
from my
wanted.
team, yes. But I think the fact that Rabada will probably be the most expensive foreign player, I think he will go upwards of 12 to 14 CR in my opinion at least. So I think that someone like Lucknow has a little bit more money will be able to afford him. I
You're
he
giving Rabada to Lucknow.
Yes, yes,
Oof, that's
as
crazy,
their
man.
biggest player. But then that's why they have a slightly weak middle order in my team. because they spend more money on their bowling. Because I think the likes of bringing in like a Rabada, bringing in a Shakib, bringing in a Rishi Dhawan will probably cost them money. That's why they have to go in someone like a Raidu and a Manish Pandey in the middle to kind of tinker the tables in their favor.
Yeah, 100%. Pandra Singh, for me, both Virat and KL are not bad IPL captains, but just bad luck, especially Virat with the toss. But Virat did win the toss in the Test series against South Africa. Even like, okay, fine, in the T20 World Cup he was unlucky with the toss. But there are certain times where you do question the captaincy. Like it's happened. We've done it. Like
Yeah.
there's occasions where he does get stressed out. You see him at long on, long off, and he panics kind of a bit, and that kind of rubs off on the other players as well. And you can't say he's unlucky for 8. How many years has he captained RCB? 8 years. Yeah, I
7,
don't
8
think it's
years.
bad
Yeah.
luck. He's not
Yeah.
lost every single toss in those 8 years. So there are questions to his captaincy. There's no doubt in my mind, because he's had some quality players there. So I think there is. I think he's a great red ball captain. White ball, there are questions for sure.
I think for about 5 or 6 of those 8 seasons, I think he was under bad management. I think there was a lot of management issues, so those were the problems as well. But I think now that management is starting to get a little
But
consistent,
a
I
Virat
feel
Kohli, stature, I don't think that should have made a
yeah, and that's he did whatever he could do. For example, in 2016, he went and scored 900 odd runs. So after that, at some point, captaincy to an extent plus management, poor management. Remember that in that Ashish Nehra would keep talking in his ears, and there was this option when he wanted to go with a fast bowler, they went with the spinner, and there's just been too many management involvements. And I think that has consistently slowed down. I think like Delhi, I think they've started to look on the up. And that has helped. So I think he's also, I think the timing of him leaving at this point is probably unfortunate, because I think in the next 2 seasons, maybe, who knows, like a Bangalore could be one of the forces to reckon with, and
yeah.
might just pick up an IPL as well.
Yeah, like they did reach a couple of finals under his captaincy, that's for sure. But I'm just saying, like, there's certain games, certain series that, like, he could have, he did make mistakes over there. So,
Of
um,
course, there's definitely mistakes.
yeah,
I think it's a bit of bad luck and a bit of the problems that he's faced with his own captaincy issues as well.
yeah. I mean, you could say that who was the captain in the 2007 T20 World Cup for Pakistan? Shoaib Malik.
Shoaib Malik, yeah,
Yeah, he had bad luck there as well.
yeah,
Misbah playing
because
that.
Misbah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, then it happens. Like in T20, there is luck and putt, but, like, if you just see the right now, I think 8 years is enough to see. If you don't have an IPL trophy, then it's more than just luck. There were issues. Whether it's a combination. I'm not just blaming his captaincy, but you have to question it, right?
Yeah,
You have to question it in that sense, and, like, maybe certain situations he could have done better, because if you look at that IPL final as well. Um, Bent cutting came and hit that 36. So who was bowling? Shane Watson. So there was bowling changes that he could have done. He could have avoided.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think IPL, your captaincy really comes to the fore in the IPL, because the
Yeah.
small things like this could change, and something like that goes in Rohit Sharma's favor, or even for that matter Mahendra Singh Dhoni's favor, but it hasn't gone in the favor of Virat as well. Like Joginder Sharma last over, it could have gone both ways. It worked out in his favor. Those things
Yeah,
sometimes.
you could say that. Yeah, you could say that. But at that time also, how much Dhoni's instilling that confidence, because if Dhoni has won IPLs with, like, other guys as well, like Albi Morkel, he's turned him into one of the best all rounders in the IPL's ever seen, right?
Yeah,
Then Sam Curran, he did that with Moeen Ali. He's done that. So how much confidence do you instill in that player? That's also there, right? It could be,
true.
of course, there is luck to it. Dhoni was lucky at times for sure, but it's also, you make your own luck in that kind of way as well, right? You, like, how you instill that and instill that confidence into those players.
True, absolutely, I agree.
uh, yeah. Do you have Imran Tahir in any team? Don't answer that question, because that will spoil our rest of our thing. Sorry, Vinay, you have to watch. Stay tuned. But yeah, don't answer that question. But listen, yeah, Vinay, if you have any questions for this team, what do you think about Lucknow, their retentions? What do you think? Who you think you can go for? Please comment. We will take that for sure. But I don't want to give any spoilers about Imran Tahir. He's a hidden gem.
Okay.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, Don?
No, I'm just. I just feel like both these teams. I just have to for Ahmedabad and for Lucknow. I think I have to kind of see how they go about their business in the IPL, in the auction especially, and their first two seasons that come out. But I think uh, I think Lucknow is a little bit more prepared in my opinion, and Ahmedabad. I think they're just doing a lot of things behind the scenes.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think I was surprised with a couple of the retentions. Especially there's so many talks about Rashid Khan going there. So I think that's completely kind of changed with the thing. It'll be interesting to see how they go. These two new teams, I think one of them will find it difficult, and one will do well. I just have that feeling. But we saw the last time when Gujarat Lions and Pune Super Giants were there. We saw when one season Gujarat do really well, and the second season Pune did really well. I think
Yeah,
Pune reached the final and Gujarat topped the IPL table and then lost in against Sunrisers.
I think
But
Lucknow will do better than Ahmedabad. That's just a wild prediction at this point.
I think Lucknow will do better than Ahmedabad. Yeah, I think maybe because they've been in that auction table before with a different team, it might be a bit different. And yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Wraps it up.
Any
Yep.
any last things you want to talk about?
No, I
You good?
think I think that wraps it up. Yep.
Or just don't tell me which team, but just for Vinay's thing, you can tell me if Imran Tahir is in any team. You can say yes or no.
I feel like he's going to be upset, but I'm going to say no because I couldn't find a spot for him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he will
All
make a lot.
right.
He will make a bunch of squads, but I don't think I found it hard to put him in my 11s.
Yeah, yeah, but he could be in squads for sure. Can you repeat the team once again?
KL Rahul, Jason Roy, Manish Pandey, Shivam Dubey, Ambati Raidu, Marcus Stoinis, Shakib Al Hassan, Rishi Dhawan, Ravi Bishnoi, Rabada, and Unatkar, Jaydev Unatkar, Khagiza
Don't
Rabada, and Jaydev Unatkar.
Nutcut and Rabada, the dynamic duo. But I was going to tell you that I read a few reports saying that Jason Holder and Ambati Raidu are linked with RCB. And now I don't know, like how solid these reports are because you can't really anyone can come and bid for anyone. So I
Yeah.
don't really
Well,
know
I
because
without those reports, I still have a holder in my RCB team. So, so
you
that's
have
the.
him.
We already made the RCB team. I already put it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think him and that's what I read. But uh, just I think it just means that they're going to go for him, whether they get him or not. I don't think it's up to them.
I don't
Uh,
know. It really spoils a lot of things if you bring out these kind of reports up top. A lot of people. It can go both ways. It could go like, okay, you know what? Now we know that they want Holder, so we're going to push his price up a little bit. Or we know that he wants Holder, which is going to give him for base price. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't
yeah,
think
that
anyone's going
ruins
to give him
the
for base
fun in
price.
it. I
These reports should be banned. I think they should be there. Pointless reports. They should be really banned. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Shah Rukh Khan saying Shah Rukh Khan wants to go to Mumbai." Who said that? Who said Shah Rukh Khan wants to go to Mumbai? I don't
don't.
think it's fair for any player to say that. I said it in my team, yes, but
Yeah.
But I don't think MI is sitting and looking at this. I hope they do at one point in our lives, but at this point, I don't think they are. So I'm just making a 11 on the basis of balance. So I could none of these players could ever make
Honestly,
any of the
it'll
top 10.
spoil the fun because even like to me, the biggest disappointer is if Ishan Kishan goes to Mumbai Indians. I think that'll be the biggest
That is, yeah,
disappointment.
it's heartbreaking.
Let him go
That's
anywhere, but if he goes there, like, what is
because
the
if
point of
someone who
that?
has 48 crores can spend 15 on Nishan Kishan, that makes it very unfair for some of the other guys. I don't know
I
how
think
they
it's going
expect
to be
it.
unfair on him, Ishan Kishan, if he goes to Mumbai Indians, because I think he can go for way more.
There was a lot. Yeah, you're right. There's a report about Ishan Kishan being Mumbai Indians' first priority. I mean, come on. Like, if you really wanted him first priority, should give him 12 crores to stay in the team.
Yeah, sure,
So,
12 crores. Now, and now, like you said, Mumbai Indians can pay 15 if they very smart, but again, it's difficult. So I don't
it's
know
going to
how
be
they'll.
hard. It's going to be very hard. I really hope that the teams that are making these decisions are not looking into too much of this reporting.
Yeah.
And I could tell that maybe some of these guys are doing it to fool at the other teams and stuff like that. A lot of behind the scenes things are probably going on. Um, Ambati Raidu will be a very good pick. I think he's going to be this one of these underrated picks that will not go there, and he's been smart about enrolling as a wicketkeeper. Gives
Hmm.
him that wicketkeeper slot because he didn't make the marquee squad, so he's still come up pretty fast, quicker as a wicketkeeper. So it gives people to think a little to think about. He'll come in the
Yeah.
same group as Ishan Kishan. So if anyone who's not going for an Ishan Kishan will probably look at who would try for an Ishan Kishan didn't get him will probably look at an Ambati Raidu as a replacement.
Yeah, interesting. One thing I would say that because there's two extra teams, I think there's potential to have two, three whipping boys this season. Because I think eight teams, it kind of distributes it more evenly. But you have 10 teams, you will have the players. But I think you saw in what was it, 2011-12, when there was the Pune Warriors and Kochi Tuskers, they were pretty weak, man. Like
Yeah,
especially Kochi was pretty weak, even though they had players. But so I think the distribution becomes a bit less even when you have 10 teams compared to 8. That's just my from past experience. I'm not saying like it's going to happen like that. I think it's very difficult to evenly distribute all 10 teams. And but yeah, I think one thing which is good is that you have like these blocks, so you have the
yeah.
10 guys, so then you have 10 teams can go, one guy can go for each, one team can go for each guy in the beginning. That's something that might work, but I find it difficult
And
to maintain
that's
sometimes.
probably why I think the likes of Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Rajasthan, and Punjab will struggle a little bit.
When I think Pune was runner up, not that Pune, I'm talking about Pune Warriors. I don't think they were runner up.
They didn't make, they were not runner up. They made playoffs with Dhoni in the second season. Yes.
That's Rising Pune. I'm not talking about that team. I'm talking
Then
about Pune Warriors, the one with Yuvraj Singh
oh,
captain.
the other one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they were smashed,
Kohli
man.
and Kuchet. That was
That's
before.
the team where Gale hit
Yeah,
175
yeah, yeah,
against.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't think
And
they
and
made
that
runner up.
in that season, Bhuvi scored in that game. Bhuvi played 4 overs, 1 wicket, 24 runs,
Yeah,
and the other
24.
16 overs went for hundreds of runs.
Yeah,
That's
Pandit Singh
quite
Sahara
crazy.
team. That's what I'm talking about, not the super. I'm talking about
Yeah,
when
yeah,
there were 10 teams.
yeah, yeah. That was
When they were runner up, that time there was still 8 teams.
correct, correct,
There were still eight
correct.
teams because they came in for Rajasthan and they came in for Chennai.
Was Rajasthan and Chennai? Yes, correct.
Yeah, so if you look at that, that's different. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about 10 teams.
Yeah.
So from that experience,
No,
they were.
I think it's good. That's why I think that the likes of
Kochi Tuskers
Punjab
were all out
will.
for like 50 against Deccan Chargers, who were one
Yeah,
of the weakest before that. Ishan Sharma picking up like a seven
five
for or
for
five
five for
for.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember. I think that's why I think Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Rajasthan, and Punjab will have to be smart about the way they go about their business, because the likes of Delhi, RCB now, CSK, Mumbai, these guys, KKR, Sunrisers, I think these guys are experienced. They know what they need to do and they go out there and get it done. Punjab has always struggled. Rajasthan has struggled because they've gone for big name players, spent a lot of money. They kind of struggle with that. Ahmedabad, Lucknow, they are newer. That's going to be the problem.
Yeah. And also, you need a bit of luck, not only in terms of tosses, but just in terms of form, right? You
Yeah,
need something like that. Like,
yeah,
uh,
absolutely, absolutely.
like, you could pick up a, what's it called? A Vander Dusen and a Jason Roy, but, then if somebody else picks up form, you can't really do much about it. I always remember that first season where Deccan Chargers had Gilchrist, Simons, Afridi, but it was Sean Marsh had Punjab smashing it and
Yeah,
taking them to
yeah,
the semi-final. You need a bit of
yeah. I
for
agree
form and
100%.
stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Punter and Vinay, for joining and your questions. And I actually, Vinay, I know that guy. His name is Kohler. I just didn't know his last name was Cadmore. He played for Yorkshire, if I'm not mistaken. But honestly, I really, I'll go and check the T10 video. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I still don't know how much he'll get picked for or anything because, yeah, I haven't heard his name in recent times, but I know who he is now because I remember the T20 NatWest. Yeah, but
Sounds good.
thank you, Don.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for joining me, and I will catch you after.